Hello, underachievers. So, for the past however many years, the whole pansexual versus bisexual argument has been driving me nuts. It's been driving a lot of people nuts, and I'm not the first to make this video, I am probably not the last. But today, I would like to talk about why I am bisexual and not pansexual, and I'd also like to talk about what the difference is between bisexuality and pansexuality, because I admit, it is confusing. It can be confusing, and it's important, isn't it? No, it's not. That's the whole preface of the video. I would also like to say to the people that keep commenting on my Instagram and my YouTube comments and my messages that I'm not actually bisexual, that I'm actually pansexual because I would date trans people and I would date non-binary people. Stop. Stop. But anyway, let's get on to it. So, before we even start talking about sexuality, I just think we need to establish that labels are literally just words. One person may interact with a word in a completely different way than another person may interact with a word. Humans have evolved and changed over thousands of years, and it would be a bit insane if language didn't evolve with us. There are countless examples of words that we use today that meant something very different a few hundred years ago, 50 years ago, maybe even 2 years ago. Words change, words evolve. It's called semantic change. Keep up. For example, the word nice literally used to mean foolish or ignorant, and now it means kind. The word gay used to mean joyous, and now if anybody uses that word in that context, they will get their book banned from children's libraries. Maybe a bit soon for that one. And don't even get me started on slurs. The word queer used to mean strange or peculiar until the 19th century when it was starting to be used as a pejorative for gays, and then it was just a pejorative for gays. It was a slur, and then gays started reclaiming it, and now it means just gay, or just not cis, or just not straight. In 2023, we have people reclaiming that word as an identity. Humans created language, humans can redefine language, and honestly, language changes to reflect the culture that we live in. And I would really just love to say, before we get into these sexualities, that words only have as much meaning as we give to them, so there's really no point in getting hung up about what words people use to describe themselves. If you're not willing to accept that, I don't think you're gonna like this video very much. So, onto those pesky little sexualities. Let's define bisexual and pansexual. So, bisexual. Let's start off with the bi part. Bi is a root word from Latin that literally just means two. So, using that understanding, the word bisexual means being sexually or romantically attracted to both men and women, or to more than one sex or gender. I've also seen a newer definition of bisexual, which defines bisexuality as an attraction to people of your own gender and an attraction to people that aren't your own gender. So, notice how it says attracted to both men and women, or more than one sex or gender. There are actually two definitions within that definition that I showed you. We'll get back to that. So let's define pansexual. So pan is derived from the Greek word meaning all or everything, or involving all members of a group, which means that a pansexual is attracted to all people ever. Obviously. Obviously not. So, the definition of somebody who is pansexual is that they are sexually or romantically attracted to people regardless of their sex or gender. Are they not just the same thing? Is it not just wokeism gone too far? Are we just trying to find labels for every feeling that we have? No. One way to differentiate between bisexuality and pansexuality is that pansexuals tend to be what is called gender blind. You'll notice that the definition of pansexual says that they're attracted to people regardless of their sex or their gender, meaning they are gender blind. The sex or gender of a person has absolutely no impact on their attraction to them. They just don't see gender. It's kind of like how white people will say they don't see color, except it's like way less racially insensitive. Obviously, it doesn't actually mean that they don't see gender. It just means that gender isn't a requirement, nor is it, you know, a determining factor in somebody's romantic or sexual attraction to a person. So this could be different for bisexuals. The sex or gender of a person could be very important in determining whether or not they're attracted to them. So back onto the definition of bisexual. As we saw, there are kind of two definitions of bisexual within the definition. There's one that describes an attraction to men and women, so this does not include non-binary people. And there's one definition that is a more open definition that includes more than two genders, so it does include non-binary people. To be completely honest with you, I have seen so many people try and argue that bisexual can only mean two. It can only mean two because the word bi means two, and it can only mean two, and nothing can change. The second definition, the one including more than two genders, is the more recent definition that I've seen. It's the one that I've seen used the most in queer spaces, and I think that through time, that will be generally accepted as the definition of bisexual. Whether people who think it's only two genders like it or not. Hey, look at that! Words changing in our lifetime. Isn't that really cool? Did anyone get hurt? No. It's okay. Change is okay. Don't be too upset about it. Although, as we stand now, and as I said in the beginning, I think the word bisexual can mean different things to different people. And I do think that's where a lot of the confusion comes from. So, if you're bi, and you just had to sit through me telling you that bisexuals cannot be gender blind, only pansexuals can be gender blind, and also that if you're bi, you can't be attracted to non-binary people, you might have thought, oh god, I guess I'm pansexual. I guess I will have to redefine myself. I guess I gotta tell everybody around me, my entire family, my friends, my doctor, the census, that actually I was wrong. I'm not bi, I'm pan. Although, it's probably more likely that you just sat through me saying that and thought, no, that's dumb. I am very much into non-binary people. I actually think they're sexy. That's probably what you thought. And I think that what we're getting at here is that it's kind of difficult for a label to truly define the intricacies of your personal identity, as well as broadly encompassing millions of other people's identities. Language definitely has its limits, and as much as we want to define ourselves, as much as we want to define other people, as mad as we get when things change. Like, one person could read the definition of bisexual and think, oh god, yeah, that's me. But another person with the exact same experience as them could read the definition of bisexual and be like, it's not me, I'm pan. There are also multiple situations where these definitions don't even work. For example, you could be bi and gender blind. I mean, I know plenty of people that just don't give a shit about the gender of the people that they're attracted to, and they still identify as bi. They don't identify as pansexual. You could also be pan and not gender blind. I mean, I know plenty of pan people that aren't gender blind, that they have slight gender preferences, and are you gonna tell them they're not pan? You're gonna do that? You're gonna sit and do that? You're gonna tell them that? You silly goose. You could also be bi and into all genders, not just men and women, and that would mean that you don't fit the first definition of bisexual. And I also think you could identify as bi and also pansexual. They're just words. And if you did encounter these examples in the wild, what would you tell them? Would you try and tell them they're wrong? I just need to say this before somebody else comments it. No, being into trans people does not make you pan. If you're bi and suddenly you're into trans people, that doesn't change your sexuality. If you're bi and you're into a trans guy, that's the guy part of bi. That's the man part. There's nothing else to say about that. I also think it's worth mentioning that probably a lot of people don't even know what pansexual is. I think your nan is way more likely to be familiar with the word bisexual than she is with the word pansexual. If language is for communication and we're using these terms to help other people understand us, I don't think there's anything wrong if you consider yourself a pansexual to just tell people that you're bisexual out of ease. It gets the general point across. So to make this wish-washy video even wish-washier and, you know, to conclude on the differences between bisexuality and pansexuality, I don't think there's any reason to give a shit about the differences, to be completely honest. I'm not saying that pansexual is a hyper-specific label. If being succinct and claiming specific labels to, you know, really delve into the differences between different genders and sexualities is your thing, absolutely go ahead, but I think the way that we move forward is I think we should care way less about what other people call themselves. So, to finish on my identity, I identify as bisexual, and I have for a good few years now. Am I attracted to two genders? Yes. Am I attracted to more than two genders? Yes. Do I care what gender somebody is? No. Most of the time, no. Would I f*** somebody regardless of their sex or gender? Yeah. If they're hot. I've had plenty of people tell me that I'm not bisexual and that I'm pansexual. My definition of bisexuality is the attraction to two or more genders. So to me, that's what I am. And I guess that's the end of the video. Let me know in the comments what your sexuality is. How do you feel about your sexuality? Could you technically define yourself as pansexual even though you identify as bi? Is it the other way around for you? How do you feel about labels? Let me know in the comments. That's the end of the video. Have a good day, though. See you later, losers. Goodbye.